Hello again, welcome back to Feed the Beast. So today, got quite a nice little surprise, something I've been building. Let's see how long it takes you to guess what it is. Yep, a nuclear power plant. I was getting bored waiting for my UU matter, so I decided to investigate nuclear power. And basically, what I've come up with is these towers of power, as I call it. As you can see, it's not finished. I haven't finished the shielding. I did the floor because I needed to build something to build on, and I did the bits where if this lot blows up it would take out half my base. But this direction, it'll just make a nasty hole in the lawn, repairable. But so far nothing has gone wrong. So basically over here we have the power generation. Now each tower is going to consist of 4 slices. I've only got 2 here at the moment. It's all I could build. I didn't have any copper left. I used it all up on this. So I'm going to add the one above and the one below very soon. But basically this is, each slice is 8 reactors, each with 8 of these single uranium cells. This is a really nice little reactor. You just need one extra chamber, so you get 4 columns, and then it generates. So these act like a single quad, but I didn't want to waste all of the copper. It's the 8 copper ingots to a single dense copper plate that really kills you if you use quads or even doubles. So I've gone for this. It doesn't generate masses of power. It's 120 EU for one of these, which really isn't going to make that much of a dent in the UU production. So what I decided to do was make a lot of them and kind of spam them. So yeah, each layer is 4. So in total this is 8 reactors, and 8 times 120 is basically 960 EU a tick, which is pretty good. I'm very, very happy with it, to be honest. And then when I complete this tower, it will make double that, so 1920 EU per tick, and I've got spaces for 2 more towers. To be honest, I can't see myself building 3. You never know, I might, but I can see myself building a second one. So how do I get this all started? Well, I don't want to be filling these things up manually, so I'm using routers, and the reason that I'm using routers is because there are 8 reactors. I do not want to set up, even for this small part of the system, I do not want to set up mechanics for each individual reactor. I want to be able to just put them right next to each other, so routers are perfect for that. So this basically extracts, and I've got an item filter, so near depleted uranium cells. So when the reaction is finished, it takes 2 hours and 40 minutes for these to finish producing their power. About a quarter of the time you'll get left with one of these near depleted uranium cells, and basically you can reprocess that into a brand new uranium cell. So it just means you need less brand new uranium cells in there. Whoops. And then the other router in here, this inserts uranium cells into anywhere, and the only thing I've got on there is just restricting it to the nuclear reactor. Otherwise it goes and removes things from the managers as well, because those blocks are adjacent. And this also has a filter for the machine. And then we have managers. So this one makes sure that there's nothing in the router, so if the router pulls something out, the manager then pulls it out in turn and sends it down to the other managers, which I'll show you in a moment. And then this one, basically it keeps 1 uranium cell constantly stocked up in here, so as soon as the reaction finishes, these just either they disappear or they become the near depleted cell, and it just shoves new one into all the slots. and I was quite nervous about it the very first time the exchange happened, but it works very well. The biggest problem I've got with it is when I add new reactors, these routers, they're going to fill the entire thing with uranium, so I must be really, really, really careful that there is no redstone power, because if you fill one of these reactors just with uranium cells and none of these heat vents to actually get the heat that's generated out of the nuclear reactor, well, there'll be a hole. There'll be a very, very big hole. So yeah, I don't know whether I'll try and stop the routers from filling it, or just make sure that I just take all the levers off. So that's the power generation. It comes along here and run the cable out here, and then we've got two of the medium transformers. The packets are in 120, and they just exchange the packets up to 512 packets. And the reason for this is to try and avoid the 1% loss you get after 40 blocks with the glass fibre cable. I need two of them because one can only handle up to 512 EU per tick, and I'm generating 960. So that goes under there, you can't really see it, but it's as protected as it can be. So the next thing are these reactors over here. Now these do generate power. You can actually see all the details up on these screens here. So I've got two breeders, basically. They're breeder reactors. They generate 5 EU per tick, which is pretty pathetic. I feed it into the EU generation anyway. I mean, you know, waste not, want not. And now, as you can see, they're both switched on, and they're both running at just over 45,000 degrees centigrade. So they're very, very hot. And the reason for this is those near depleted uranium cells, they end up going in here. So I've got some in here, and these you can make in a crafting table, so these I will have made, but any new ones or any recycled ones will also come into here. And if you craft them with some coal dust, which this is what this auto crafting table does, and then you can put them it creates depleted isotope cells, which when you put into a breeder reactor next to a uranium cell, so if we look in here, here's my uranium cell and here's my depleted isotope cell. Now if we just wait a few seconds, when that number you see up there gets to 10,000, this will become a uranium cell, not a uranium cell, we'll see what it becomes, something that can be easily converted to a uranium cell. Actually no, I've got it the wrong way around. It's uranium cells count up, these count down, so it's only just started. When the bar gets to the end here, it will turn into not one of those. It comes out and it goes into this chest, and it turns into one of these, which is a re-enriched uranium cell. And if you mix that again with coal dust, you get a uranium cell which is fuel ready for producing real electricity. So this is my system for basically managing all of that. It took several hours, mainly because I wanted to keep it as simple and as compact as I possibly could. I think I've done a pretty good job here. So basically the main issue I had was, if we assume that this gets filled up with all of these re-enriched uranium cells, this will auto-craft them into uranium cells, automatically pulling them from the chest. What I needed to do is pull them out and put them in another chest. Now, that's fine, but these don't stack, so at some point I need to stop producing them and pulling them out. And the difficult thing with Buildcraft pipes and the gates, I mean, these autarkic gates are really good. Okay, so you don't need an engine or anything, so that's, you know, a little bit more compact, a little bit more elegant. But it's very hard just to get one to come through. In fact, I couldn't do it. I tried everything. So basically, what I've got is I've got an iron ore gate here, and if there's anything in the pipe, or there are items in this inventory. It will send a signal. Alright? If it sends that signal, sends that signal, it will this is an AND gate, so they both have to be positive, so that has to be low. So if it sends a signal, this will not try and pull any more items out of the crafting table. It also has to be empty itself, so if we're just traversing one, it should switch it off and not pull any out, but it's not foolproof. It does pull out two. The time it takes to pull one out, this gate does not react in time before it'll pull another one out, which is, it's really annoying, and that's why we've got this relay here. I just had to give up eventually, so the logic was slightly different, but it should have worked, but it didn't. So what this does is this will feed them all into here. Once that's full, they'll start filling up the inventory here. When they're filling up that inventory, I've got it so that as soon as there's something in there, it sends a red pipe signal and just stops pulling any more out. Now, if it sent another couple, that's fine, because as long as it doesn't send more than 9 before it switches off, I won't lose any. I won't see them going all over the floor, which, believe me, I did a lot. And this is exactly the same system here. These are stackable, these near depleted, but these ones here, ready to go into the breeder, they are not stackable. So again, exactly the same system. I've occasionally seen 2 in here, but usually you just get 1, and that works very, very nicely. Again, the gates are set up the same. Excuse me. So, oh yeah, that's one thing to mention. That's why these blocks are here. If I stand behind them, I'm perfectly safe, but if I get any closer to these, the heat that they're at is over the 75% limit, and it will hurt mobs and players. I actually had a creeper in here earlier, and I was thinking, is there a creeper in lava? But no, it's just stood far too close to these. So yes, this breeder design, I won't claim complete credit for it. I modified one from the Industrial Craft forums. I basically took one and played with it and experimented, and then adjusted it to my own needs. So this has 3 extra chambers, so you get 3 chambers with the nuclear reactor, and then it has 3 extra ones, and these add heat capacity, so you can run it hotter without it exploding. So you can see on the display panels the maximum heat is actually 56,000. And it starts melting things nearby at 47,600. Now each 3,000 heat, you get an extra multiple for how fast these recharge from the uranium. So it's more efficient and it's faster. So originally I ran these at 39,000 just so I could actually build all of the mechanics without constantly getting hurt. It wasn't the getting hurt so much, it was just the constant ouch and jump that happens. So the way that the heat is kept, we have overclocked heat vents, component heat vents, and they get all of the heat that's generated. That's 60 heat, I believe, generated by the uranium cell each tick. Now, just so you know, a tick in a reactor is 1 second. There's not 20 per second. So they balance that out. And then we use heating cells, which basically get us up to just over 45,000 heat, and these exchange the heat and keep it all balanced. So very expensive, because these take 2 dense copper plates each, in fact 3 each, and yeah, these take 1 each, so the amount of copper is crazy. So yeah, they're both exactly the same. I started out with just 1, and then I built these. I'd actually run this for quite a long time, because this is a lot more complicated. As you can see, we have depleted isotope cells that we need to put in. We have uranium cells that we need to put in. When these finish, they get pulled out and they are re-enriched. So these ones. So they need pulling out. When the uranium's finished, we need to put a new one in, but some of the time it will actually put a depleted one in there. so I need to pull that out as well, and that will just go in here, just temporary. So I decided to go with the red power managers to deal with this, because it's amazing how compact you can make the mechanism. So let me show you the routers first, and then I'll show you the managers. So this bottom router, this is for inserting the depleted isotopes, and it can put it anywhere. There is a possibility that it could put it into the slot where the uranium's supposed to go, and I'll show you how I fix that in a minute. So it's got a filter to make sure it only puts things in nuclear reactors. If I was to change this, if I was to click there, it would change to the managers, and it would fill up the managers with these things, and it'll all go wrong. And that's all I need on there. So the middle one, this is to extract just the re-enriched uranium cells. So when the four have finished, this will pull those out. And it doesn't even need, because it's an item filter. There we go. Ooh, we just saw it working. Which one of these? Is it that one? Yeah, it's just put these three in. That one is lagging a bit behind because I actually ran out of these to put in, and I had 3 running for a while. So yes, that doesn't need to only get it from nuclear reactors, because it won't find these in any of the other machines. Right, this one, this inserts the uranium cell, obviously, and this is just, I mean, whoever created the routers, thank you for this. You can actually specify a specific slot. There's not a single other machine in any mod in this mod pack that can do that. So, I mean, without this, I wouldn't have been able to create this very compact, very elegant machinery that can basically handle as many reactors and as many breeders as I had on. It's just, I can't overstate how much I was excited when I realised you could do this with a router. It's fantastic. So yeah, I just have to make sure it doesn't go and put them into slot 10 in anything else. And basically, if you count, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but actually, even though you can't see them, I could add more chambers on here, and they are counted, they're just not shown in the UI and available. So this is just about to finish in just a second. So let's have a look at the very last router which I added, and this extracts from slot 10, and this will extract either depleted isotope or near depleted uranium. And that means that if we do accidentally shove one of these depleted isotope cells in here, because it just happens to be need to replace the uranium at the very same time it's replacing the depleted isotopes, it will sort itself out. So that's fine. So you saw this got automatically replaced, and also this pulls out if the uranium does turn into a near depleted cell. This will pull that out. Alright, so let's quickly go through the manager setup. So this one will make sure nothing stays in that chest, and will send everything to the relevant place. This manager makes sure that there's a single uranium in this router. This one again pulls everything out of here. This basically says make sure the inventory looks like this, and it's empty. And this one will make sure that a depleted isotope cell is always in that router, and it will grab them from here. So this manager is set up to allow any number of depleted isotope cells in the inventory it's managing, and this one is set up just to say, right, it's got to have exactly one in there at all times. So then these are processed. These are this manager pulls out and allows these re-enriched uranium cells to be put in here. And it also, we need the coal dust in there, otherwise it would try dragging all that coal dust out and sending it somewhere else. So they're processed into the uranium cells, which again have a manager which says they're allowed in there, and as many as you like. And similarly, this one says, yep, as many as you like of these, and we can have coal dust. And then this manager, yeah, as I showed you before, just allows depleted isotope cells, and then they're just attached to the managers over here, which keep those routers filled. So that's, I mean, it seems really simple, and it is really simple. It just took an awful long time to figure out and actually make. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's just been running, how many cycles? Probably about 8 cycles now it's run through, and I haven't needed to touch it at all. I did only start with one breeder. Adding this breeder was a little bit tricky, because again, I didn't want it being filled up with stuff. I actually tried to disable the routers, and when I disabled the first router, I managed to accidentally set it to fill up the managers, so I kind of messed up the system. But I think next time what I'll do is what I suggested before, which is just allow it to fill the thing up, and make sure everything's switched off. Oh, there we go. I'm not sure though, so maybe I'll be adding the other layers to here. I've calculated that each breeder should be able to support 2 of these slices here, so 2 breeders for 1 tower, 4 high. So yeah, that's my nucleus setup. Really pleased with it. Here's all the stuff I was using when building it. I actually built most of it without any containment apart from on the floor, which was pretty stupid really, but I was very impatient. I just wanted to build it. So I quickly, before I actually brought the power ones online, I built all this. This is reinforced stone. I'm going to have 2 layers everywhere, and probably 3 layers on the direction up there that goes towards the main part of the base, just in case. You never know, something might go wrong. I mean, if I was to pull out some of the these temperature platings out of here, if I just pulled those out, it would just explode because the heat would be above the maximum heat. So yeah, it's a bit dangerous. So that's my nucleus setup. As I say, I will be adding more to it, and the door. Yeah, I don't know if the door's enough blast protection. It is a reinforced door. I certainly find the pressure plates quite annoying. So yeah, another thing I've been working on. This is me working on a new version. But if I show you the one I built, I think it was day before yesterday. So that's up here. I was basically tired of setting up engines and pipes and conduits when I set up a quarry, and basically I realized you can create these energy tesseracts, so you can send energy. So all I need to do is put down a quarry, put down the pipe and the chest, use an ender chest, and it gets pulled out, as you know, and then slap down one of these next to it, and it'll just I can have the power generation set up permanently. So what I set up here was all of these biomass engines, and feed it into this this conduit and into my redstone energy cells. And each one of these has a gate which is set to when it can store energy, it sends out a redstone signal. So if any of these send out a redstone signal, this line goes on. So yeah, I don't really know why I've got the torches, to be honest. I did have to have it inverted at one point, but I can't see, because that inverts the signal and then that inverts the signal, so I don't really need them anymore. Oh well, I've got them there. So I also decided to build one of these blue electric engines to see how good they were. They'll actually generate up to 32 megajoules per tick, which is more than any other engine, but you need an awful lot of bluetricity. So that's actually been doing okay. I created, I think I've got 110 or 108, something like that, solar panels up here. I mean, I just kept creating them every day, and I've got 6 bat boxes, or battery boxes. So I'd imagine that what I'll be doing is putting these somewhere on the roof, out of sight, because, I mean, they don't look too bad, but you can't put any blocks on top of them. I mean, it's a real shame you can't combine these with sub-blocks and just put glass on top or something. I also put a bush around here. This also hides another solar panel. I'll show you what that drives in a minute. So that's just to try and kind of hide things a little bit. Yeah, so this was all well and good, but what happened was I very rapidly ran out of biomass. I haven't got a massive biomass generation set up at all. So yeah, I decided that I wanted to be able to use steam, lava and biomass. So I'm going to create a sort of another tower of power, not nuclear this time, to create this sort of power. The only thing that really kind of took the wind out of my sails is when I learnt that these energy tesseracts lose a quarter of the energy. So I was actually planning to remove the engines from over here and the engines from over here and just have energy tesseracts. So I'd have like a centralized energy production. But that really isn't going to work because of the amount of energy you lose. I mean, it's the convenience is actually worth the energy loss for a quarry, which is in the Twilight Forest, which is where we can quarry on this server. So yeah, I think I will have to keep either these engines or I'll just hook up conduit. So yeah, that's what I've started doing. Oh, I shouldn't go down this way. Let me show you the new staircase I made down to the power basement, basically. I didn't intend it to become a power basement. I just needed a big space for my boilers originally. But yeah, I figure I may as well put all the power down here. So yeah, this is going to have basically one of each engine for each redstone cell, and I'll switch them on depending on how much power I want to generate. So I'll have it toggleable using some levers. So it will also react. So, oh, excuse me, I'll have gates there to switch on the engines when they actually can take some power and not waste the fuel if they can't take any more power. Okay, so the last little thing to show you is again power generation. I wanted to experiment with because I think I showed the blaze farm here. It actually generates an awful lot of blaze rods. This is a tier 5 spawner using the shards. And that was fine. I mean, just sending it down this system and over here, and I think I've got 14 generators here now. So it basically just uses a filter to filter them out, sends them into the generators, and then back into the sorting system if they're all full. So that just tops up the AESU that we've got here, and I created a little switch so I can switch off these thermal generators. I kept running low on the lava, and I was tired of having to go to the nether to pump some more because the chunk loaders don't work. I'm not quite sure why, but they don't. So the biggest problem I had, I mean, I struggle. My computer isn't the best. I mean, it's not bad. I'm not complaining, but it's I get, well, I'll just show you. You know, when I'm recording, about 10 or 11 FPS. When I'm not recording, maybe 16 to 18 FPS. It's fine on vanilla Minecraft, but with all this stuff around it struggles. So what I wanted to do was stop every single individual blaze rod travelling constantly down here. So if I switch this on, blazes will start spawning, and what this little system does is it just stacks everything up. So it will actually have to get an entire stack of blaze rods in here before this sorter says, okay, yep, entire stack's there, I can send it out. And that's what this mode does, and that makes it run automatically. And I figured I may as well do all the stuff from the farms as well, just to try and reduce a bit of that lag. And then there's a restriction pipe into a relay just for anything that isn't programmed in, so I have everything that I've got set up in the sorting machine in there. And if we just watch this, Shouldn't be too long before we build up a stack of blaze rods and they'll get sent out. I also used it, or I was intending to use it somewhere over here. That's right, I did. And yeah, from the quarries. Basically, I use one of these chests for the stuff that you get loads of, like cobble and dirt, and then I use the other for everything else. So the cobble and dirt was basically, I was getting little tiny 2s and 3s constantly go into the first 2 slots in here, and it meant that the rest just built up and never got extracted because it would constantly fill the first 2 slots. So what I've done in here is just for all of these sort of like volume type blocks, this basically says wait for there to be a stack before sending it out. So that's actually a really nice little solution. I wish I'd realised earlier that you could do that with the sorting machines. This is me trying to work out how I'm going to bring the power up from below. I'm in 2 minds as to whether to get rid of this. I think this is nice, this is beautiful. I'm hoping that the one I build downstairs is going to look fairly good, but I think I might leave this for posterity, not sure. Tell me what you think.